Go ahead, keep going.
Only a friend will tell you if you have a book in your nose.
Just friend of the show.
Oh, I love it.
Go ahead.
No, but, you know, it's actually better now that I'm older because I am more secure as to who I am and more secure as to what I want.
Yes.
And you find a partner. You don't find a fantasy.
Yes.
And you find a partner. And I've married my partner, my best friend.
Yeah. And so never give up on love. And I love how it happened. So you all are fight fans and you went out there to see Mayweather fight?
Yes.
And he won, you'd elope?
No. I knew he was. No, it wasn't a bet that he was gonna win. I would just kept saying, I bet he's gonna win. I bet he's gonna win. And he goes, you know what would be better? I bet if we eloped, it would make it even sweeter. And that's where it came from. So it's taken out.
That's cute. That's cute. And so how long have you been married now?
Since September 15th of 2013. I know it because that was the day after the Mayweather fight, so I'll never forget my anniversary.
So now let's talk about the smirk on the cover. And I said because you've won. I had no idea that you were a ward of the state.
Yes.
I had no idea that your mother was diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Right.
I had no idea about a lot of things, Rosie. Let's talk about a ward of the state and how'd you get there, and how did that change your life or give you a different perspective now as a grown woman?
Well, I was a product of an affair, and I won't give it all away because you got to read the book.
You were a product of an affair?
Of an affair.
Okay.
My parents were married to different people. They had me a week when I was born. My mother dropped me off at my father's sister's house, my aunt, said, I'll be right back, and she didn't come back for 3 years. And when she did come back, she only came back to take me and place me in a Catholic convent. And in that instant, I became property of New York State and governed by the Catholic Church. And so all my rights as a child were gone. And it took a very, very long time to get out. And I vacillated between upstate New York and Brooklyn and my aunt's house back and forth.
How old were you when you first got placed in?
3.
And how old were you when you finally got out?
Well, that's tricky because I got out of the home, that's what we call the Catholic Church, at 8 years old. But then there was a lot of legal stuff that was going back and forth, and I went right back into the system because of it.
How did you survive that?
You know what, Wendy, I just think that there was something inside of me that I knew as a child that I was special, and I was supposed to contribute something special to the world, and that's what kept me going. And I went, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't mean to embarrass you, but I thought of you when I was writing the book. Yes, I did, because I remember listening to your show when you were on radio, and you said you were a big sister.
I was.
And back then, I'm old, they were called volunteers, and I had a very influential volunteer, this woman, that helped me understand as well that I can obtain other things. She took me from the home on the weekend, sometimes when I couldn't go to Brooklyn, to her house. And I said, oh, this is how other people live? This is a possibility. And as an adult, when I heard you on the radio and you said that, it touched me.
Thank you, Rosie.
You know,
Thank you, Rosie. A shout out to the Big Brothers and Big Sisters organizations, or if you happen to be an older person, you don't have to necessarily formally be involved with them, but it's nice to reach back and thank you, Rosie. Now, about this thing with you and Tupac, because while I was on the radio, I do remember stirring that pot as well. All right, explain this picture and where you were and why it was that we were all talking about Rosie and Tupac being a couple.
Right. Everyone thought that we were having sex.
Yes.
Yes, and we weren't.
Oh.
What happened was that I was supposed to go to the Soul Train Music Awards with this other guy in the music industry. Don't ask. We'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay.
And he stood me up. He stood me up 15 minutes before we were supposed to leave. And Tupac, we were friends, and he called me up, and he was like, what's up? And I was like, and he said, yo, forget that.
Right.
And he said, let's go up there. I'll be your date. I said, what? He goes, he's going to be so jealous with me and you and everything. I said, yeah. And he goes, plus I want
you this now, but back then, did you puff a little love before you hit the red carpet? Okay.
That was 20 years ago.
That's 20 years ago.
But what Hoppy wants is that I wasn't a puffer back then.
Oh, so it hit you good.
Oh, what? Okay. To the point where we were in the limousine, and my best friend Julie was in the limousine as well.
Yes.
And we're sitting there, and we're like, whatever. And I look at Pac, and he looks at me, and I go, are we supposed to kiss or something? And he said, no, because you're the type of girl that someone marries.
Did he end up leaving with Madonna or hooking up with Madonna? Oh, well, we learned something new every day. Wow.
Yeah, and it was crazy nice because when we got out of the limo, I was so stoned and I was so scared and everything. And he's like, don't worry, I got you. And that's the handing, the whole hand.
That's the picture?
That's the picture when he said, I got you.
Aww.
It was so cute. And then when we got there and we sat there, I didn't realize he was sleeping with half of the women in the industry.